Welcome to today's webinar, how to embed quests in emails and web pages. To start off, my name is Håkon Kavli. I'm a digital communications advisor here at Questback. I have this from working at Questback Support. And today I'll show you how you can embed your quests in emails and web pages with the potential to have your respondents answer directly on the first questions in your questionnaire. So using dynamic links so that respondents can go on and answer one specific question and then be redirected to the latter part of your quest. The way we will be able to do this using Essentials is that we utilize something called dynamic links, which is actually an integration option that we boast here in Essentials. I've added a couple of useful resources in the description to this video. So if you haven't had the time to look at these resources up on now, and especially if you're watching this recording as a replay and not in real time, as you lucky guys sitting here in the webinar room right now are, it could be advisable to pause me and then watch and read through some of the documents in this description. One of these are this case study, how to create a rating snippet, which essentially step by step guides you through the whole process of creating a quest with dynamic links and how to use them. Here with the example of a web page and even directly here in this very article. So the first thing that I would like to show you guys right now is how a working example would look like. And this is actually a dynamic link quest integrated right here at this web page, where I can rate how satisfied I were with this very article. So this could either be very dissatisfied, dissatisfied, indifferent, satisfied, or even very satisfied. Say that I was for some reason satisfied with this article, and so I clicked on the corresponding image there, and then I was suddenly taken to this quest, and I'm able to answer this quest right now. So it says, thanks you so much for your feedback. Would you like to elaborate on why you were satisfied with the article, how to create a rating snippet? Just gonna answer test here, so I understand that this isn't real feedback. And then I can go on and submit my answer. So this essentially is a working example. You could hopefully, after watching this webinar today or this replay, you would be able to do somewhat something similar yourself. That at least is my aim for this webinar. It's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily need to be more advanced than this. Embedding different answer alternatives on the same spot, which lead respondents into the actual quest. And the way this works, we'll look into that in a couple of minutes, but I just wanted to start off by showing you what dynamic links are and with the live demo. So then step number 3, how to build dynamic links. And this is, to be honest, a bit harder. So as I've written here in the part 1, you would need your question set. So I think I'll go, I was referring to this article again, step 1, part 1, setting up the communications evaluation, and then step 1, create the question set. I'm gonna do this as we go along today, just so you see that it's hopefully easy to do so yourself. So the first thing, actually even before creating your quests, I would need to provide you with an additional and initial task, and that is to check with your local support using an email and asking, is dynamic links enabled for my account? Because this is an additional feature. It doesn't come with the cost, but support would need to add this permission for your account in order for you to use it. So just write support a little email stating the question about whether or not dynamic links is already enabled for your account, and if so, you're good to go. And then you could follow my next steps, which is creating the quest. So we will use the same example with the rating snippet. I'm gonna call this communication evaluation. Gonna put it in a demo folder of mine, and the quest type will be customer experience, used for rating snippets. And here I would essentially only need, for the sake of simplicity, I'm not making this quest GDPR compliant. I would very much advise you to do so when you're applying this in real life, but this is just to save me some time, really. So here I would not need anything else than essentially at least one question, like we did here with so let's see if I answer again, say that I was happy, one open answer like this, and I can even steal the same question text that I used previously. So to build our communications evaluation quest, we would only need at least one other answer, and I recommend using a open answer question. You could include additional questions as well, but adding an open answer is nice to get sort of a bit more in-depth information from your respondents. So and a trick here actually is to not use the question text, but instead maybe just commenting out this and say that this is, for example, a comment. going to the question settings and hiding this question text. Then include additional information and put the actual question text there instead. And the reason why I favor this is because that this enables you to easily input or reuse the input from your respondents using a Q&A tag later. So just for now, I don't know if my respondents are satisfied, dissatisfied, neutral, etc. But I would know that later, so I could finish this part. And instead of the article, we would use communication. So how about the actual input from the respondents answering to a communications evaluation like this? Well, in order for me to fetch that input, I would need some respondent data to store that input. This might seem a bit off. Why would you need respondent data in a quest where you're fetching dynamic links data? But the easy answer is that's just how we've implemented it here in Essentials. So just to prepare my quest for receiving any data using dynamic links, I would need to sort of enable these as additional fields here in Designer. So I'm just gonna create a new Excel sheet. If I may. So this can be a blank workbook. I would need some mails. I would need a rating. And I might need even a subject. So I knew who is being rated, or what article is being rated, what video is being rated, etc. So this could be just a test. Doesn't matter what you put in, this will later be deleted. Rating could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could also be dissatisfied, very dissatisfied, etc. We can oh, I see. Sorry for switching screens here. I was working in Excel now, so I just wanted to show you how you could activate your respondent data later going into the communications evaluation. Thank you for notifying me, Robbie. So this is just preparation again. So a rating, to use the same example like we do here. If you look down at the very bottom here, you can see that the rating equals very dissatisfied and the subject equals how to create a rating snippet. Rating could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well, and then subject could be a person. Maybe that's easier. So rating is 1 and then subject is Håkon. Just gonna save this locally at my computer in the downloads file. Then I'm gonna head back to Essentials, go to distribution, and then upload this file again, just to activate these 2 additional respondent data fields. Looks like this. Perfect. Open. Get a preview of the results or the data. And these fields you might want to make filterable, so that you could create filters on it and show it easily in your reports, especially if you have several people being evaluated. Okay, so heading back to designer, you see that now our rating and subject fields have been activated. And the next step, essentially, for me to be able to get any answers on this quest would be to build dynamic links for each of these rating combinations, which I would like to be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, corresponding to either any of these images. So the way I could do so, I would need to publish my quest. I would go to test and publish then, and make it publicly available. I would need to open the preview. Just one moment before I do so, I would like to recommend to you to also visit distribution, activate distribute by link, and then name this link something quite short, for example CSAT, and then you can copy it. Now what makes dynamic links dynamic, and again you would be able to review all the information I write here using this article, and even the documentation for dynamic links and the technology behind it. But what makes this very quest here able to retrieve dynamic answers would be the SID, which is a unique identifier. So I would need this, and this would be unique for each quest that you make. Even the ones that you even any other quests that you create would always have one unique security ID or SID, which is sort of a key for the respondents to use, so that they verify that their answers will only be stored in the quest corresponding to this particular security ID. So I'm just going to remember this at my clipboard. What more? I would need to build a dynamic link using parts of this standard distribute by link. And this is where I will get a bit more technical, because if you open a notepad, let's see, having several screens here, so it opened in one of my other screens. I open a notepad, and I'm gonna open my general link. Looks like this. it will lead to this quest that we created, where the respondents get post one question: how satisfied were you with the communication? But I would also like to add some input from our respondents when they actually rate us. So in order for this link to get dynamic, I would need to state this dynamic argument at the very beginning of the quest. Make this bigger so that you see it. And also I would need to add the security ID, which looked like this. And also I would need to add, just gonna keep this as stored as a dynamic link in case something happens. I would also need my link to store other information like the actual rating and the subject. So this is again, I would need essentially to create one individual link per rating, and if I have different subjects, I would need to create all these links per rating per subject as well. Might be a cumbersome process, but we start easy with only one subject, so you see how it looks. Rating could either be 1, could be 2, 3, 4 or 5 as well, but just let it be 1 for now. And subject should be Håkon. And for sake of simplicity, I'm just gonna write my name without Scandinavian letters. If you use Scandinavian letters, you might need to URL encode that letter. Again, more information about this can be found in the actual documentation, and just I left a link for it in the description of this video, but this can also even be found using help, resource center, and then this dynamic links guide that my dear colleague Matthias have written. This goes through step by step each of the required processes. So this is another example for how it could look like. If you want direct answering, you would need to add this answer argument before your security ID, and then the parameters or the variable or answers you want to pass on with the link. So in our case, if we emulate the example above, it could look like this. CSAT, and then we would need answer, and then we would need the security ID, which is individual or unique to this very quest. We would need an and character just to tell Essentials that we're adding more variables. And one more thing, if you're adding, say that your subject instead of Håkon, it could be a full name, then you would need to add the corresponding URL character for a space, which is a percentage character and then 20. Looks like this. And this is essentially a working dynamic link. I could create 5 all at once. Of course, I could test it first to see if it actually works, but for your entertainment value, I would just go on and fail miserably if I do. But I guess this is what I would like to answer now. And I can go in and answer it. Invalid quest identification details entered. Quest cannot be identified. So, just for now, I showed you how you could fail. So I would need to control that my SID is correct. And I might also check distribution that my link was saved correctly. So, what did I enter here? I didn't. Okay, so the SID looks like this. It lacks a Y. And then you can see it works. Perfect. So to go back to Essentials, I can see if the answers were stored correctly using follow-up. You can see now I got an answer using dynamic link, and I can add this custom fields and the actual answer to see who answered. And you see that it was my test comment and the subject was Håkon Kavli. The rating was 1. Exactly what I wanted. So then I could go back and correct this security ID, so I'm sure that it works for each of these answer alternatives. And as you might see now, using dynamic links, it could enable, or it could mean that you would need to do a lot of testing. But again, the more you test, the more experience you will get, and the more control you will have on your quest. So let's see if I got all my tests in. Can head back to Essentials. Update the page. And you see I got all the different ratings. I named them test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5, and it seems to work as I wanted. So now I know essentially that my dynamic links works. My respondents will be able to give either of these 5 ratings to this particular subject. If I needed more subjects, I would need to go and create more links. So essentially, one of these links per other subject. Say there was some other person that I wanted my respondents to review. For instance, Matthias. I could go on and use this link instead. So everything would be the same except for the subject part. And then respondents could evaluate Matthias instead. So this is the core behind dynamic links. Quite straightforward, quite easy. Then of course you can go and add finesse. Now that we have a rating, we could see that we could use that rating. Would you like to elaborate on why you were so just to get it somewhat make it look somewhat professional, I could say that you answered that and then I could reuse the answer from tag. You answered that you were, and then I would get a number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So so maybe it would make sense to say on a scale from 1 to 5, you answered that you were happy with, and then add the subject. So using this new details, I could go and test my link again. Just for fun, I could test Matthias's version. Thank you so much for your feedback. On a scale from 1 to 5, you answered that you were 4 happy with subject communication. So here, apparently something went wrong. Let's see. Head back to Essentials. Did I spell subject right? Looks so. But it looked like, yeah, I'm just gonna insert this again. Like this, okay. And there it is. On a scale from 1 to 5, you answered that you were 4 happy with Matthias Pettersen's communication. And of course, this is just an example. You could rephrase this any way you like. But this just is one way to actively use the input from your respondents, so that you show your respondents that dynamically changing from what they, or just gonna rephrase, it shows your respondents that you listen to their response, and that you got their initial response from maybe this rating snippet like this one, and you're actively using that response, and then you ask them to elaborate and to give you more details about why they stated so, and choose any of these smiley faces or emojis. So this is essentially dynamic links core from the Essentials side. Then the fun part is implementing this in actual websites or your email signatures. I wouldn't necessarily be able to go into the details here right now, but head back to this article as soon as you're done watching this this webinar, and you can go and have a look at some of these resources that I've made available here. Here is a web page which gives you access to templates for rating snippet examples in these 4 languages. So the English one says, "Hi, how did I do?" Then you get the images here, which all have a corresponding dynamic link. Because again, this is key. This you would need to amend the code here and put your corresponding individual dynamic links behind any of these pictures. But this is just meant for to be a template to use. The other resource there, this template for responsive signature, I've uploaded tons of code here, and you would be able to amend this latest parts here like this, and put your own individual links here. So this could look like if I'm able to fetch, let's see, if I'm able to fetch just this part, maybe, hopefully. Maybe I'm able to show you right away. And this is really where it gets fun. So I wouldn't necessarily know if you have access to a web page, but if you don't have it, you could of course just copy this template into your email signatures in Outlook, and then add links behind any of these pictures. Just for the sake of the example, I would try to quite fast publish a new web page with these links. This is bold. This is a bold move, so I might fail miserably again. But it's always fun to try with real examples. So just gonna log in here to the Questback community, which I luckily are able to build and play with. Just gonna create a new page, I think. Standard page, flexible layout. I call this ratings. And here at this rating page, I would want to add some HTML, and this is probably where I fail because I'm not able to, I can't paste everything here. Maybe I could do like this. No, it's unsupportive. So I'm gonna head back to this and do like that instead. At least I tried. In this text, I will add the template. And behind this links, these pictures, I will add separate links. So this could be the happiest rating. Again, I'm moving really fast now, so if this is too much to grasp, my apologies for that. Might be easier to read the article first and then watch this webinar. But this might work the way I want. It might not. I wasn't able to add this, so just for the sake of simplicity, I'm gonna forget about my own template for a while. And I'm gonna put this link let's see, can I monitor something? No. I'm just gonna add some default text. How happy were you with my communication? And then I'm gonna add some pictures. Gonna call this 5. I'm not even sure if I could upload this picture. This is getting messy, I'm sorry about that. I couldn't. So again, try once more. Five PNG. And this is of course very large, so I could find a larger, smaller picture, but I wouldn't have the time. And I would add my link. I would publish this. And now, like a true dictator, I'm only offering my respondents to answer that they were very happy with my communication. And if they do so, did I remember this correctly? Rating. So I go to this web page, ratings. And I'm able to answer this one answer alternative. I was 5 happy with Håkon Kavli's communication. Would you like to elaborate on your answer? Håkon did well, but to be honest, the webinar was a bit messy. And then I could go and submit my answer. So if you would want to create such a rating snippet with several different options and not just one, just follow the same steps as I did now. And remember, this can either be embedded in web pages or directly in email signatures. And this example was with the rating snippet or a communication survey. You could use dynamic links to integrate and send and pass information between quests as well. One example is the link that I've sent those of you that registered for the webinar today. It looked something like, should I see if I can find it? No, it doesn't matter, but I used dynamic links to give you access to this very YouTube video using dynamic links. So it's quite versatile, was my point. Heading back to Essentials, you see that my results, my test results at least, have started ticking in. I even got the last submission, and I could use this to create reports. Since the ratings are filterable, I could see how many people have answered which alternatives. 2 persons have answered 5, and then 1 respondent have answered all the others, etc. I could see that only Håkon Kavli has been rated this far. Mathias Pettersen is also activated. So if I go and answer using this link, then my latest response for Matthias should be included here as well. And it did. So you could use dynamic links to create a rating snippet for yourself, but if you've already taken the action to do so, you could very well create one for others as well, be it your whole team or your whole organization for that part, because it's a good way to constantly get feedback on how you perform. And the way we use it at support, for example, is that we get evaluation for which customers are happy with our service, and we also uncover potential problems if there was something our support agents missed or there were some misunderstandings. We're able to quickly address that using for example, a notification that is sent out whenever someone, sorry about that, I meant to go to notifications, and say that you have an email with a follow-up every time someone gives a poor rating, like they're 1 or 2 or even 3 satisfied. You can send out a notification to the supervisor, for example, or manager, stating that someone has been dissatisfied or shown that they're sorry about that. You can add the notification with the conditions that is triggered whenever someone gives a somewhat poor rating or a poor rating. Then you can send a notification to a manager stating that someone is dissatisfied. And I also use the term customer, but I would encourage you to try to use evaluations such as this on even your peers if you send a lot of emails internally or to your colleagues, but also others that you cooperate with, because sometimes we miss stuff. We're human, we make mistakes, and sometimes if we offer others the opportunity to give us feedback on how we perform, we might suddenly realize that we don't always get the whole picture ourselves. Like having some extra eyes and ears out there could be very beneficial and helps us realize a lot of our own potential. Maybe there's room for improvement. Maybe we're doing something really extraordinarily well and we don't know until someone points it out for us. So this is a great example for making the most out of your communication, I guess. And again, the same dynamic links technologies, you may use it to transfer data between different quests. Say everyone that answers something should be redirected to a separate quest that asks question about something else, but you still want to reuse some of the data that they've answered previously, for example. You could do so with dynamic links. But I think that concludes today's session. Make sure to read this article here, how to create a rating snippet. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the video directly here at YouTube, or head to the Questback Essentials forum and ask them there, and I'll catch up with you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you learned a lot and that this was helpful. And if not, please let me know too. Make sure to subscribe to these videos so that you will be the first one notified when we release other content. And thanks for watching. Goodbye.